losing just is not an option. The Milwaukee Brewers just don't lose. It's weird to say that, but they're on a pace right now that can put them on an all-time major league level. Weird to think that way, but it's true. We'll tell you about it next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, everybody. Chuck Freimund here, Locked On Brewers. Great to have you aboard. Longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. Lived in Wisconsin all my life. Grew up in the Milwaukee area in Greendale. And proud host of Locked On Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Brewers move their record to 70-44, sweeping a 6-game road trip. We'll tell you about that coming up here in a little bit. And don't let anybody tell you differently why this team cannot win a World Series. We'll talk about that. New milestones ahead for the Milwaukee Brewers. Andrew Vaughn has turned into Mickey Mantle. What's up with that? And the Brewers, well, they can win a World Series, but the odds makers sure don't think so. We'll get to that story a little bit later on here in the podcast. I'm not going to ruin my good time tonight talking about where Vegas has the Brewers right now, because that doesn't matter. And you know what? It shouldn't matter to you at all. Obviously, the real test is in October. I get that. But don't let that get in your fun here. I mean, each and every night, we're putting on the TV or going to the game and we're seeing entertaining baseball, right? Knowing that this team is just doing all the right things. I mean, isn't that fun to watch? Going out there, getting base hits, moving guys over, stealing bases, playing great defense, playing great pitching. I mean, we waited all our lives for this. Sure, chicks dig the long ball. I get that. But I don't need that. I want winning baseball. And each and every night, when you sit in front of your TV, this summer, you're getting it over 70% of the time. You're getting it over 70% of the time. It's amazing. Like I said, they're 70-44, have the best record in baseball. They have a 4.5 game lead on the Dodgers. Well, they have a 4-game lead on the Cubs, 4.5 on the Dodgers, 5 on the Phillies for the best record in baseball. And having the best record in baseball is important, obviously, or best record, at least in the National League, when the top 2 seeds, because you get a first round bye. You know, there was a time where in baseball, when, back in the Stone Ages of the 80s and 90s, when you had 4 divisions and it didn't matter who had the best record. They alternated between divisions, who had home field advantage in the championship series. But now it's rewarded, and it always should have been, to the team that's got the better records. You should be rewarded for that. And the Milwaukee Brewers, 4.5 up on the Dodgers, who got beat by the Cardinals. Cardinals went in there and took 2 or 3. Philly, they took 2 or 3 from Baltimore, but they sleptwalked through their game today. And the Cubs were able to win their game and avoid a 3-game sweep at Wrigley today. But yeah, losing is not an option. It isn't. These guys just go out. And Murphy was asked after the game on Wednesday. He was asked, "What about this road record?" Murphy says, "Road, home. I don't think these guys really care where they're playing. They are just hungry. These guys are anxious to get out there and want to play baseball." And that's what you want. You want a hungry baseball team. You don't want a team, the Dodgers could have 3 MVPs, but that's not a hungry baseball team. The Yankees, they just snapped like a 5-game winning. They got their first win since the trading deadline. That's not a hungry baseball team. The Cubs certainly don't look like the Cubs with Craig Counsell there. I mean, they're sleeping half of the time. That's not a hungry baseball team. The Mets, who are going to be here Friday, they almost got no hit on Wednesday. I mean, these teams that the Brewers are competing with, Toronto, there's some things I really do like about Toronto, but the Brewers, out of all these teams that are contending for, a World Series championship, the Brewers, and I watch a lot of baseball, nobody does it better. And when I say nobody does it better, nobody plays the game the right way like the Milwaukee Brewers do. Whereas, yeah, you can't make mistakes on them. They are like woodpeckers. They just peck away at you, and they grind out at bats and all that. And nobody in baseball plays quite like the way the Milwaukee Brewers are right now, where you take guys off the bench, you could throw a mannequin out there, and they'll still go out there and throw 6 innings of 3-run baseball. That's what the Brewers are doing. Jackson Chourio, we forget he's in the lineup. Oh, yeah. Sal Frelick came back to the lineup after a few days off. He had 2 hits. But 2 guys who, again, I've talked about these guys a lot too. Isaac Collins and Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn, Anthony on Twitter, who's a great Brewer fan, sends me messages every day, and I love his analyzing. And anybody, please DM me at Chuck Freimund, or find me on Facebook, and I always respond back to you. But Anthony writes me every day and gives me his thoughts, and I love it, man, because he's got passion, just like all you guys do. And he said, we traded Aaron Savale for Mickey Mantle. I mean, you're not too far off the truth right there, because he's putting up Mickey Mantle numbers. Andrew Vaughn, since coming over to the Brewers, he's in 22 games, he's batting .377 with 7 home runs, batting in the heart of the order. Imagine this. Andrew Vaughn started his season. His career was going nowhere at the Chicago White Sox. I mean, he was starting first baseman on one of the worst teams in baseball, a team that was the worst team in baseball last year. On top of it, he gets off to just a wretched start. He's batting like in 48 games of the White Sox, 5 home runs and batting .189. He was so bad with a bad White Sox baseball team that they sent him down to the minors. He gets traded to the Brewers. He gets sent down to the minors. Rhys Hoskins gets hurt. This guy gets called up, and he turns into Mickey Mantle. Now you can't take him out of the lineup. He's hitting in the heart of the order. This guy went from playing with a lousy Chicago White Sox to getting sent down to the minor leagues, and he's now in the heart of the order for the best team in baseball. What a story that is. Again, you go from the worst team in baseball, and you were so bad to start the season, they sent you down to the minors. The Brewers had an unhappy pitcher. They traded for you. They saw something they liked in you, and you ended up getting called up from the minors because of an injury to the Brewers, one of their highest paid players. And you come up and you hit .377 in 22 games and 7 home runs, and just one rally after another you're involved in. And he was asked, have you changed anything with your batting stance, anything? He goes, no, not at all. I haven't really changed anything. Although the MLB network, I saw them the other day, were talking about Vaughn. This was last week, and they said that he has changed a few things. They noticed a few things differently. I don't know. I didn't watch that much White Sox baseball. But all I know is Andrew Vaughn is just great with these guys, and he's turned into Mickey Mantle. And don't stop here. We need that Mickey Mantle for another 3 months, right? We need that. And then there's Isaac Collins again. That lineup comes up sometimes. I subscribe to, I think it's MLB.com, where they drop the lineups every day, and I get it. I get it sent to my phone, and so it's there. It pops up on my phone. I always look at it, and I always chuckle at the lineup. Isaac Collins batting in the cleanup spot. Isaac Collins batting third. Andrew Vaughn batting in the cleanup spot. Who's leading off? Andrew Monasterio. Why is this guy here? How come Durbin's not in the lineup? Are they going to fix that left side of their infield? Who's pitching? Who is this guy? Oh, my gosh. And then the Brewers go out and win. I mean, you look at it, you laugh at the lineup. I mean, you look at the lineup and you're like, it's like, you go to a layup line. When you go a layup line of a basketball game, you see, one team, and then you see the other team, and you say, well, this team is going to beat this team. And before you know it, the team that looks like that couldn't jump over a phone book is, picking and rolling and screening and destroying that other team on the other side in the layup line. Same with the Milwaukee Brewers. You look at this team, you got a bunch of guys who are 5'7" and 5'8". I mean, you got the Smurfs out there, really. Smurfs, Pat Murphy, Smurfs. You got all these guys who are like 5'7" on this team. Yet they're all producing. Isaac Collins. I remember the first time I went to Sal Frelick in the locker room a couple of years ago. I'm like, wow. Terang? I mean, we're not talking about hulking figures here. Isaac Collins? None of these guys. Even Andrew Vaughn isn't all that big. Yet these guys just go out there and produce. Isaac Collins, 3 hits. He got on base 4 times on Wednesday night. What's this with the Brewers being underdogs to the Atlanta Braves? I told you about this last night. I looked at the line and I saw that the Brewers were, Atlanta was minus 140 on the money line. I'm like, what? The Braves are 18 games under the 500 mark, going nowhere fast with a couple of key guys out of their lineup. The Brewers are a steamrolling machine. Who's getting some hell in Vegas for setting that line? Gosh, if you had a FanDuel account, I hope you're all over the Brewers. Anytime they're plus money, I'm on that one. Just like in Los Angeles when they were against the Dodgers a couple of weeks. Always plus money. Even when they're home, they were plus money. Today, they were plus 127. I'll take that. Plus 126. And don't tell me, somebody replied to me, Spencer Strider's on the hill. The Brewers KO'd him by the 5th inning. Blake Perkins, guy who was rehabbing his shin for 5 months, comes back, goes 3 for 5 on Wednesday night. Spencer Strider, Ryan Snitker takes the walk in the 5th inning. He's out of there, and the Brewers go on to the win. Now, the Brewers didn't score at the end of from the 5th inning on. But I mean, after that Perkins home run, it turned out to be a 5-4 game. But were we ever really threatening that game? Please. Brewers were never threatening this game. Losing is not an option. They're on pace to win 119 games. I know that's weird to say, isn't it? I mean, even to go there, because right now the Brewers are winning 73% of their games in the last 60 games. 73%. They're on a pace to eclipse the 116 wins from the 2001 Seattle Mariners. That was Ichiro's rookie year. That team, though, busted out, and I believe the second round of the playoffs, the divisional playoffs. I think that was the first round back then. In the divisional playoffs, they got beat by, I want to say, either Cleveland or the Yankees. Seattle, despite an immaculate regular season record of 116 wins. And the Brewers, that 2001 Mariner team, like they were winning every day. And this Brewer team is on a pace for 119 wins right now. It's silly to think about it. I know it's weird. It's bizarre. It's surreal, but it's true. You know, I was watching the game today. I'm thinking, man, what more can I say about these guys that hasn't been said before? Because they're just great. They just find a way to get the job done. Washington, Atlanta, yeah, the 5th and 4th place teams of the National League East. Brewers just went out there and took care of business against them, went 6-0. 6-0. Quintana gets his 9th win. Quality start. Brewers 24-6 in their last 30 games. I love just all these numbers that come out with the Brewers right now. Told you last night the best 60-game stretch in Brewer history. Now the best 61-game stretch in Brewer history. 41 and whatever it was. 45-16, I think it is. Brewers underdog. Who set that line? Yeah, I'm disappointed that there's a day off on Thursday. That's the only thing that disappoints me is there's a day off for the Brewers on Thursday. I mean, this is like sitting down at the blackjack table. The heater the Brewers are on are just like sitting down at the blackjack table and getting king and ace every time. And you're just sitting there. And maybe once in a while, they'll throw you a bad hand. But then the next hand, ace, king, ace, king, ace, king. and you're stacking up those chips. And that's what the Brewers are. They've stacked up 70 chips to 44 losses. It's time to cash in pretty soon. So Fox Sports says they are going to be, quote from them on their baseball show, they are going to be scary in the postseason. Says Fox Sports. They are going to be scary in the postseason. All right, we come back. I think they're going to be scary. I think we're all in, man. I'm all in. This team is for real. This team is great. This team is just great. However, Las Vegas does not feel that they're the best team in baseball. Little odd. I wonder if it's the same guy that set the line for tonight's Brewers game. But we'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. PrizePicks. Good to have you along, PrizePicks. Great sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason already hitting up. College football coming up here in a couple of weeks with week 0. It's the perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season before week 1 kicks off. So whether you're into quarterbacks, running backs, wide receiver, pick a player, 1, 2, fantasy, daily fantasy, PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 play. PrizePicks, daily fantasy. Run your game with PrizePicks. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. Well, I was on a roll a little late for my first commercial break, but man, I just lose track of time talking about the greatness of the, I've been watching this team my entire life, and I've never talked about them on this level before. Never. I've done sports talk forever and covered this team. Never in my life have I talked about them on this level. Yeah, the 87 Brewers, 13-0, got off to a 20-3 start, and then ended up going on a 13-game losing skid in May. By Memorial Day weekend, they were back to the 500 mark. 2007, they got off to a 20-7 start. I thought maybe that was going to be the team right there. Didn't make it. This one, 70 wins, the fastest 70 wins in club history. Was reading the Journal Sentinel. Emmett Prosser, friend of mine with the Journal Sentinel, good guy, was digging up some facts about World Series odds for the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers right now, if you want to bet on them to win the World Series, they're at plus 1,400. So that means you bet $100, and if the Brewers win the World Series, you get $1,400 back. That's what the odds were for them a couple of weeks ago when my buddy Tim Allen went down there in June and put a bet in for them to win the division. They were plus 1,400 at the time. They were plus 1,400. I think now they're like minus 190, the Brewers are. So the Brewers right now, according to Vegas, the 8th best team in baseball. Who does Vegas think is better than them? Of course, the LA Dodgers. Teams that we told you that got it on cruise control. The Phillies. Phillies are in first place. Played mailed one in on Wednesday. Detroit's good. Detroit's a good team. Although they got beat on Wednesday as well. The Mets, please. That's who the Brewers' next opponent is. We're going to talk a little bit about them in a little bit here as well. The Yankees. Mets are better than the Yankees. Toronto's good. Toronto should be a little higher than this. And the Cubs, better World Series odds than the Brewers. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me. You got to be kidding me. The Cubs, better World Series record odds than the Brewers. Brewers getting no respect, but that's okay. But you know what? Hungry baseball team. These guys don't look at this. These guys don't care. They're just going to go out and continue to win. Fox Sports said they're going to be scary in the postseason. You better believe they are. Scary in the postseason. All right, by the way, my podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, on all the major downloads out there. Anywhere you download your audio podcast, we're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewers fans out there tuning us each and every day. Jennifer messaged me from Necedah, Wisconsin, in Juneau County. Beautiful, beautiful area in Juneau County. Appreciate that. Have people all over the world. Simon from the UK messaged me and said the Brewers and Mets are going to be on the BBC. He says we never have the Cubs on the BBC. Well, the Mets, they're playing the Mets. New York, New York has got that pull. But Sunday on the BBC in the UK, the Brewers and the Mets. How about that? All right, we get back here. We come back. We'll talk about this upcoming series with the Mets. We'll get into it. I'll tell you about the pitching matchups. Those have already been released, at least on the Brewers side. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Game time. Man, you want to go to the games this weekend against the Mets, maybe next week against the Pirates, 6-game homestand. Maybe you want to go down to Wrigley Field here in a couple of weeks and see the Brewers in that 5-game series at Wrigley. Hook up with Gametime, the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for any MLB game you want. They got all the tickets there, anything you want, concerts, anything, theater, comedy clubs. It's all there with the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code Locked On MLB. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you got to create the account first of all with the Gametime app. Download the app and use that promo code Locked On MLB. You'll get $20 off. So you pay $70 worth of tickets, you'll get them for $50. But you got to download the app today. Last minute tickets. And again, if you scroll down and you see tickets that you want, if you with a finger tap, you can see where you're going to buy the tickets, where their seats are going to be before you buy. And all these seats, man, I'll tell you, they have all the venues on there, and you can grab these seats. And if you wait for inside an hour before game time, man, those ticket prices start dropping. So take my word on it. Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. All right, down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers. Thursday, a day off for the Brewers. We will be back Friday morning with a podcast, by the way. Friday morning. Any news that happens on Thursday. And we're going to take some, I'll take some mailbag stuff. You want to message me on Twitter? Chuck Freimund, Freimund. You want to message me on Twitter? Any questions you got about the Milwaukee Brewers, we will use them on Friday morning show. So we'll drop a show on Friday morning on all the platforms. But the Mets are coming to town. The Mets have just got swept by Cleveland at home. I thought the Mets were turning it around a couple of weeks ago. They were on a 7-game winning streak, and then the Mets are just a weird team to figure out because they have talent. They have talent on that team. They spent some money for talent. They got players. I mean, Alonso was having an MVP type year. But, man, I can't figure out the Mets. The Mets nearly got no hit. Soto broke up a no-hitter in the 9th inning. Otherwise, Cleveland was going to no-hit them with Williams on the hill. So Cleveland swept the series in New York against the Mets. The Mets have lost 9 of 10. Here is the pitching matchups. For Friday, Woodruff against Senga. Saturday, Henderson against TBA. And Priester goes on Sunday against Manaea. Priester against Manaea on Sunday. I'll be at the games this weekend. If you see me there, obviously, hey, let's pack the place, right? All 3 of these games. State Fair, I know, is right down the road. It's going to be a busy area. I think we're going to have big crowds. I'd be surprised if we don't eclipse 40,000 for all 3 of these games. Maybe I'm thinking a little much on it, but my gosh, we got the best team in baseball right now. 70-44. And I'm not being a shill for the organization at all. You all know me better than that. In fact, some of you in the past have said I'm too negative on the Brewers. Nothing to be negative about these days. Unless you want to ask why Caleb Durbin wasn't in the lineup again on Wednesday. Later found his way as a pinch hitter, but Sigler started against the right-hander Strider for Atlanta. But if you see me out there at the ballpark, please say hello. And as always, tell me where you're calling from, or you're watching this podcast on Twitter. When you write me a note, let me know where you are. Always want to know. If you view it on YouTube, podcast, how you do it. Heard a guy in Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin today. Mason, Wisconsin, up in Bayfield County as well. Man, I love it. When I open up my Twitter app in the morning and I get messages from you guys telling me you're like in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, or you heard me mention the Saratoga complex in Waukesha and you grew up near there, man, we are connecting because we are Brewer fans and we are all on the same page these days, right? We love our team and we're just trying to get our team into the World Series. These fighting woodpeckers, they are unbelievable. Don't anybody ever, that's my party words, don't let anybody ever tell you anything differently about the Milwaukee Brewers and that, well, you know what, do they have enough offense for postseason? Man, they got enough offense to go 70-44 and have the best team in Major League Baseball. Unless this team just goes into a horrible slide, that's not going to happen. They could do that. They could do this in the postseason as well. That's how good these guys are. That's how good this team is, man. I feel it in my heart of hearts. All right, everybody, have yourself a great Thursday. We'll talk to you Friday morning. And again, if you have some questions, we're going to take a mailbag. Please send them to Chuck Freimund, Freimund, on Twitter, Chuck Freimund, or you can send them on my Facebook page as well. We're not friends. Let's be friends on Facebook. And ask me any question you want. Just hit me in the messenger there. All right, everybody. See you all on Friday morning. Chuck Freimund, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.